Lab 12.1 GenAI Tracking Key Performance Indicators. This walkthrough is filmed using ChatGPT 5.3. The decision-making context for this lab is Dano's Seasoning, which is a manufacturer and distributor of all natural low-sodium seasonings online and in retail stores. The company has a long list of KPIs and they would like them monitored. You are developing a spreadsheet to track them. Your goal here is to apply conditional formatting to the performance data to indicate whether it's meeting its targets for each performance measure and whether it was trending up or down across the periods. So open your GenAI tool. I'm using ChatGPT 5.3 and upload your data. So press the plus button and navigate to where your data is stored. We're looking for Lab 12.1 GenAI data. So open that file and then enter your first prompt, which is going to give the tool some context about the data itself, and then ask it to identify the variables and the KPIs within the data so that we have a good idea that the data loaded correctly. Okay, now it is populating or giving me output here. It's telling me that there are 6 variables, which is correct, and it's telling me the different KPIs that are included in the data set. Now I'm looking at what the GenAI tool has given me, and it shows me 5 KPIs, and I know that to be untrue. I've opened my data and I know there are quite a few KPIs in it, and I believe there are 26. So I've asked it further. I've just informed it the data set should have listed 26 KPIs. It then tells me, I'm right, thanks for flagging that. The dataset does include 26 KPIs, not 5. It only previewed the first few rows, and then it gives me a more complete list of KPIs. So what this should tell you is that you need to prompt better than I did here, and rather than just say, give me, identify the variables and also list the KPIs, it's probably useful to say, review the entire data set and identify the included variables and KPIs or something similar, because as it describes here, it just previewed the first few rows and went from there. So that's a big risk when you're looking at relying on this tool to do your analysis. And it suggests you definitely need to understand your data before you put it into the tool. Okay, so now what I'm trying to do with this data set is make it more obvious to the user if the company is meeting, exceeding, or failing to meet its goals. So I'm going to provide a pretty extensive prompt here. I'm going to copy and paste it in, and then we can talk about it. So I'm telling it here that the performance for 2024 is listed in column E and 2025 is listed in column F. I want to be specific so that it knows where to look. The goal column in column C indicates whether the performance should be higher or lower than the target shown in column D, because some variables or some need to be above a target, some need to be below. If you wanted to have expenses low, you would want it to be below, so we need to specify that. I'm asking the tool to add conditional formatting using the following criteria. If the goal is to be above the target, color the performance green if the column is above the target, red if it's below the target, and yellow if it meets the target. If the goal is to be below the target, color the performance green if it's below, red if it's above, yellow if it meets. And then I give it an example, and I give it a second example, and I tell it to apply the same logic to all of the cells in columns E and F and create a downloadable Excel file containing the KPI data conditionally formatted as instructed. So you can see I gave it quite a bit of information, including where the data is, exactly how to analyze it, a couple of examples so that it can follow that prototype as it goes forward, and then tell it to apply the logic to all cells in those columns. I'm going to hit run. Okay, it took a little while, but let's see what we've got here. It's created a formatted downloadable Excel file. Okay, here's what we've got. It looks right at first blush. We've got goal for this first line of above. Target was 650. In 2024, it hit 640, which is below the target. In 2025, it was 675, which is above the target. The next one above, $35, both were 32, so they were red. Cost of goods sold should be below $28, and it's 23 and 26, so they're both green. Okay, it looks good. You may want to continue to examine all of them to make sure that yours are also correct before we move on. For the next prompt, we're going to add another column that has arrows to show whether the performance is trending up or down. So again, this is kind of a lengthy prompt that I am copying and pasting in here. And I'm telling it I'd like to add a column labeled trend in column G. For each KPI, if the 2025 data is greater than the 2024 data, add an up arrow. If the 2025 data is less than it, add a down arrow in the new column. And apply additional coloring formatting to indicate that the trend is moving towards or away from the goal. So I'm specific there. Also apply conditional formatting to apply color to the arrows as follows. If the goal is above, a down arrow should be red because the trend is moving away from the goal. An up arrow should be green because the trend is moving towards the goal, and so on. I want this to be another downloadable Excel file, including the new column and the conditional formatting, as well as the conditional formatting previously applied. All right, so mine has produced the output. Let's see what it looks like. Oh, actually, it looks pretty good. So here for the first one, we've got above, we're moving up, and we're moving closer to the goal because we're going further above. Down here, we want to be below, and we are below, but we're trending up, but it's red because that's away from the goal. So it has applied the formatting correctly. Where it has left blanks is when there was no increase between 2024 and 2025, and we actually did not give it any instructions for what to do there. So it has applied the formatting correctly. So our last step is going to be to create a prompt to share the story. So we are going to ask it to use the analysis that has previously been performed and answer the following two questions. For which KPIs is Dano's missing its performance targets, and how is its performance trending over time? Provide any insights that would be helpful for management and recommended actions. And so it provides a summary of the key missing indicators, the performance targets that are being missed. It tells me something about the trends, big picture, key insights. So it's growing but not profitably. Classic growth versus efficiency imbalance. There's more traffic but worse conversion, meaning more people are coming to the website but they're not buying. More customers but a higher acquisition cost. More sales but lower margins. And some recommendations for management. So it gives you lots of things to think through. So as a user, you would want to go back and read these recommendations and see if they make sense given what you understand about the data, but it can help you think about how to move forward with the organization. So that is Lab 12.1.